Before we begin, I just want to say that this video discusses a real criminal case involving violence, family tragedy, and murder. My intention is never to sensationalize these events, but to tell the story with care, respect, and accuracy. Out of respect for the victims, their loved ones, and everyone affected by this case, some details may be limited. If this case feels like it may be too much for you, please feel free to click away and take care of yourself first. For those of you still here, thank you for being here, and with that said, let's begin. To police, it looked like a terrifying home invasion. A family had been attacked inside their own house. A mother had lost her life. And a young woman claimed armed intruders had tied her up before opening fire. But as detectives began piecing together the evidence, they noticed something wasn't right. The timeline didn't make sense. The evidence didn't match the story. And the more investigators uncovered, the more they realized this wasn't a random attack at all. It was a carefully planned crime hidden behind an elaborate lie. This is the story of Jennifer Pan. Jennifer Pan was born on the 17th of June 1986, making her a Gemini, and she was born Markham, Ontario, Canada, to Huihan Pan and Bitch Ha Pan. Jennifer had one younger brother named Felix. Her parents were ethnic Chinese refugees from Vietnam to Canada. Her father was born and educated in Vietnam and moved to Canada in 1979 as a refugee. Her mother also came to Canada as a refugee. The couple were married in Toronto and lived in Scarborough, where they had Jennifer and Felix. Jennifer's father worked as a tool and die maker, and her mother made car parts at Magna International. By 2004, Jennifer's parents purchased a house with a two-car garage on a residential street in Markham, a city in the Greater Toronto area with a large East Asian population. Jennifer's parents set many goals for their children and had extremely high expectations of them. At 12 years old, Jennifer was made to take the music theory and harmony lessons, as well as figure skating classes, where she trained most of the week. Her aspirations to become an Olympic figure skating champion ended when she tore a knee ligament. At Mary Ward Catholic Secondary School, Jennifer played flute in the school band. Her father was seen as the classic tiger dad, and her mother was his reluctant accomplice. Her mother and father would pick her up after the end of every school day and closely monitored her extracurricular activities. While attending high school or dance classes, Jennifer's parents never permitted her to date because they said it would distract her from academic commitments. She also was not permitted to attend any parties during the time her parents believed she was at university. At 22 years old, she had never gone to a club, been drunk, visited a friend's house, or gone on vacation without her family. Jennifer and her friends reportedly regarded this upbringing as restrictive and greatly oppressive. In high school, Jennifer's grades were somewhat average despite her parents' expectations except for music. By forging report cards, Jennifer deceived her parents into thinking she earned straight A's. When Jennifer failed calculus class in grade 12, Ryerson University rescinded her early admission. As she could not bear to be perceived as a failure, Jennifer began to lie to those she knew, including her parents, and pretended she was attending university. She sat in cafes, taught piano, and worked in a restaurant to earn money. In order to maintain the charade, Jennifer told her parents she had won scholarships, later falsely claiming that she had accepted an offer into the pharmacology program at the University of Toronto. She went to the extent of purchasing secondhand textbooks full of purported class notes she could show her parents. Jennifer also requested permission from her parents to stay near campus with a friend, which was actually her high school boyfriend, Daniel Chi Kwong Wong, who later transferred to Cardinal Carter Academy in North York due to low grades. During the week, Daniel, of mixed Chinese and Filipino ancestry, lived in Ajax. He was an active marijuana dealer and managed a Boston Pizza. While pretending to study at Ryerson, Jennifer told her parents that she had started working as a volunteer at the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto. Jennifer's parents soon became suspicious when they realized Jennifer did not have a hospital ID badge or uniform. Jennifer's mother followed her daughter to work and quickly discovered her deception. Greatly angered, Jennifer's father wanted to throw her out of the house, but her mother persuaded him to allow her to stay. As she had not completed high school, Jennifer eventually began working to finish high school and was later encouraged by her parents to apply to university. She was, however, forbidden to contact Daniel due to his parents being from a different ethnic background or to go anywhere except for her piano teaching job. The two remained in discreet contact. In 2009, Daniel had grown weary of trying to pursue a relationship with Jennifer because of the restrictions imposed by her parents. Daniel broke off the relationship and began to date another woman. After learning of this new relationship, Jennifer falsely informed Daniel that a man had entered her house, showing what appeared to be a police badge, after which several men rushed in and gang raped her. She claimed that after this a bullet was mailed to her and that both of these events were arranged by Daniel's new girlfriend. In spring 2010, Jennifer was in contact with Andrew Montemayor, a high school friend who, she claims, had boasted of robbing people at knife point, which he denies. Andrew introduced her to Richardo Duncan, a goth kid to whom Jennifer claims she paid $1,500 to kill her father in the parking lot at his workplace. Duncan said that she once gave him $200 for a night out, but he returned it and rebuffed her entreaty to kill her parents. Jennifer and Daniel were back in contact at this time, and according to the police, they came up with a plan to hire a professional hitman for $10,000, calculating that she would then inherit $500,000. They planned to move in together. Daniel connected Jennifer with Leanford Roy Crawford, a Jamaican-born man, and gave her a SIM card and iPhone so that she could contact Lenford without using her usual cell phone. Lenford in turn contacted another man, Eric Sean Sniper Carty, from Rexdale, who in turn contacted Montreal-born David Milvaganum. On November 8, 2010, Jennifer unlocked the front door of the family home when she went to bed, then spoke by phone to David. Shortly afterward, David and two other people entered the home through the front door, all armed. In the court testimony, the Crown did not establish the identity of the other two hitmen. Daniel and Lenford were at work. Carty stated that he was the driver for those who broke into the house. He also selected them and was involved in plotting the attack. The identity of the triggerman remains unknown. After demanding all of the money in the house and ransacking the main bedroom, the three men took Jennifer's parents into the basement and shot them several times. Her mother died, however her father survived. The three men then took $2,000 from Jennifer and left. Jennifer claimed that they tied her up, but she managed to dial 911. Her father was treated at Markham Stouffville Hospital before being moved to a trauma unit at Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto by air. Police initially believed the family's wealth lured the perpetrators into the house, but they grew skeptical as numerous valuables had not been stolen. It also seemed unusual that Jennifer was left unharmed and had dialed 911 with her hands bound. The evening after the murder, police interviewed her. Her father later woke up from a coma, and he recalled to police that he saw Jennifer whispering to one of the hitmen in a friendly and soft manner. She was arrested on November 22, 2010, during her third interview. Jennifer admitted that she had hired the killers, but she claimed the plan was to kill her, not her parents. The interrogating officer, William Bill Goetz, used the Reed technique to obtain Jennifer's confession. He falsely told Jennifer that he had computer software that could analyze untruths in statements, and that there were satellites with infrared technology to analyze movements in buildings. In Canada, police are legally allowed to lie to those they are interrogating regarding the evidence they have allegedly collected and the strategies they are using. David was arrested at the Jane Finch Mall in North York in April 2011. Aaron was arrested at Maplehurst Correctional Complex in Milton, Ontario, several days later. Daniel was arrested on April 26th at work. Lenford was the final suspect arrested in Brampton the following month. Jennifer was held at Central East Correctional Centre in Lindsay, Ontario, while awaiting trial. The trial of Jennifer and her accomplices began in March 2014 in Newmarket. It lasted 10 months. All defendants pleaded not guilty to the charges of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. At the trial, York Regional Police evidence included exhaustive tracking of mobile device movements and text message traffic, including over 100 messages between Jennifer and Daniel in the 6 hours prior to the killing. Further evidence focused on the atypical nature of the break-in, robbery, shootings, and irregularities in Jennifer's testimony. Her obsession with Daniel, emotionless confession regarding the attack, and recognition of the trauma she underwent were also detailed. A major irregularity was that Jennifer was not assaulted, blindfolded, taken to the basement, nor shot, leaving behind an eyewitness to the attack. Her father's very different account also undermined her credibility. The trial included over 200 exhibits. Over 50 witnesses testified. Jennifer, Daniel, David, and Lenford were all convicted and sentenced to 25 years to life. Originally, Eric was tried with the other perpetrators. However, Edward Sapiano, his lawyer, fell ill, and in mid-2014, Eric's case was declared a mistrial. In December 2015, Eric received an 18-year sentence after pleading guilty to conspiring to commit murder, with eligibility for parole after 9 years, but he died in prison in 2018. According to Eric, he did not wish to subject Jennifer's father to another criminal trial. The trial took 10 months, with the jury sequestered for the 4 days it took to reach its verdict. "I lived with daily thoughts of this crime," said Foreman Patrick Fleming. Graphic coroner photos of bullet holes through flesh, the bloody crime scenes, and the chilling testimonies. He also recalled regularly reliving the moment he read the verdict, and the screams from the defendants and their families. The sequestration heightened the sense of isolation he felt upon returning home afterwards, as he had not been allowed to visit his father-in-law in the hospital, and felt guilty for being unable to support his wife. Fleming later joined forces with another juror who was suing the federal and provincial governments over mental health issues from service on the jury in a different murder trial to advocate for mental health support to be provided to jurors. Jennifer's brother Felix requested a restraining order to ban her from any further contact. It was granted over Jennifer's lawyer's objections. She is also banned from ever contacting Daniel. As of 2016, Jennifer was incarcerated at the Grand Valley Institution for Women in Kitchener. Daniel, previously held at Lindsay, was held at Collins Bay Institution in Kingston. David was at Atlantic Institution in Renew, New Brunswick. Lenford was at Kent Institution in Agassiz, British Columbia. Eric, who was stabbed in prison after sentencing, requested to be sent to a federal prison in Western Canada or Atlantic Canada to serve his 2 sentences. His murder conviction for his 2009 killing of former friend Kirk Matthews, and his conspiracy conviction for the murder of Bitch Pan and attempted murder of Han Pan, he was later moved to Kent, where he was found dead in his cell on April 26, 2018. In May 2023, the Court of Appeal for Ontario granted an appeal by Jennifer and her 3 co-conspirators on the first-degree murder charge and ordered a new trial, on the grounds that the trial judge had incorrectly instructed the jury to only consider 2 scenarios, both of which would justify a first-degree murder conviction, instead of allowing them to consider other scenarios that would lead to lesser second-degree murder or even manslaughter convictions. The court also upheld the convictions for attempted murder of Jennifer's father. The Supreme Court of Canada upheld the Court of Appeal's decision in April 2025, holding in a 7-2 majority opinion written by Chief Justice Richard Wagner that the jury should have been allowed to consider lesser included charges in the death of Jennifer's mother, that Jennifer and her co-conspirators may have intended to kill only Jennifer's father, since no evidence offered at trial would be at odds with a jury finding that Jennifer's mother's death might not have been intentional. While there was strong evidence supporting the Crown's theory that both parents were targets, he wrote, there was no undisputed evidence contradicting the idea that the plan was only to kill the father. Justice Andromache Karakatsanis, joined by Sheila Martin, argued in their dissent that there was no air of reality to any theory that the defendants meant to kill only Jennifer's father, specifically noting that the crime had only occurred after Jennifer waited until her mother was home before notifying one of the other defendants that it was time to execute the plan, and that both parents were led downstairs and covered with blankets before they were shot. Even when Jay's evidence is taken at its most favorable, they wrote, it is speculative to find that because Jay had less animus toward her mother, and had months earlier planned the death of only her father, that the plan on the night in question was also to kill only her father. Having been ordered to retry the 4 living co-conspirators in the killing of Bichpan, the Crown allowed 3 to plead guilty to significantly lesser charges with major sentence reductions. On February 2nd, 2026, Daniel pleaded guilty to manslaughter, which still carries a term of life imprisonment, but immediately made him eligible for parole, as compared to the 25-year minimum mandated by his original first-degree murder conviction. This makes Daniel eligible for parole. On March 13th, Lenford was allowed to plead guilty to the lesser charge of conspiracy to commit murder, reducing his original sentence of 25 years without parole to a straight 15 years, coincidentally meaning that his full 15-year sentence was completed the very next day. That same day, the due course of his original 25-year sentence for the attempted murder of Jennifer's father, without eligibility for parole for 15 years, meant that he was immediately eligible to apply for parole. 5 days later, the Crown allowed Jennifer to plead guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter in the killing of her mother. That still carries a term of life imprisonment, but now allows for her to be eligible for possible parole in less than the 25 years originally mandated by her first-degree murder conviction. Jennifer's other convictions associated with the shooting of her father remain. Bichha Pan's funeral was held in November 2010 at the Ogden Chapel in Scarborough. A funeral for Bitch's father was held, according to Jennifer, prior to Bitch's funeral to satisfy a Chinese custom that older members of the family have their funerals first. Jennifer had been asked to organize both funerals. Bitch was buried on November 19th. Jennifer's father could not attend due to his injuries. Jennifer Pan is still serving a life sentence in prison. Following the 2026 plea agreement, she is eligible to apply for parole, but being eligible does not mean she will be released, and there has been no announcement that parole has been granted. Daniel Wong is still in prison in Canada for his role in the murder-for-hire plot against Jennifer Pan's parents. There has been no public report that he has been released or granted parole. Linford Crawford is still serving his sentence. He has become eligible to apply for parole, but eligibility does not mean release, and there has been no public announcement that parole has been granted. David Milveganum is still serving his sentence in a Canadian federal prison. There has been no public announcement that he has been released. Eric Carty was found dead in his prison cell at Ken Institution. He was 38 years old. Authorities did not publicly release detailed information about the circumstances of his death. The story of Jennifer Pan is one of deception, pressure, and devastating consequences. What began as a family that appeared successful on the outside was hiding years of secrets behind closed doors. The investigation uncovered a carefully planned crime, one that forever changed the lives of everyone involved. Today, Jennifer Pan remains behind bars, while her father's remarkable survival and determination continue to inspire many who have followed this case. Although justice was served through the courts, nothing can undo the loss suffered by the Pan family. Thank you for watching Into the Night Stories. If you found this documentary informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which case you'd like me to cover next. Until next time, stay safe out there.